Hey everyone, here's our IQ problem for today. We are getting a lot of requests from our followers to include some simple IQ problems in our daily upload. So here is our problem for today. Let's say we are given again these 3 rows and 3 columns, and the first 8 cells are already occupied with pictures as shown in the diagram. We would like to find what is the correct picture in the last cell. You can pause the video first and try this IQ problem. Now, let's solve this problem together. What is the pattern that we can see here? Sometimes we do not know how to start, but I usually overlap the first 2 pictures here and see if there's a rule that I can deduce. So let me trace first the first picture this way, and I color it blue, and I would like to overlap the first and the second picture in the first row. So we have here a stem, and we have here a stem as well. There's an overlap here of 2 dots, and that becomes a square here. So let's write that down. It seems like if we have 2 overlapping dots, the result is a square. I just wrote it as 2 dots side by side so that you can see the 2 dots, but this is the rule that we think is used in order to arrive at this square here. Then this small square here has no overlap, so we just copy it. The same here, we just copy the dot. Now let's test this rule in the second row. So again, let's trace the first picture in the second row and overlap it with the second picture in that row. So we have here 2 overlapping dots, and we have here a square confirming our rule. Then we have here a square with a dot inside, and there's nothing here. So it seems like the rule is when you have a dot inside the square, that resulted to erasing whatever is the symbol in that corresponding location of our picture. Then at this part, we just copied. Then we have here again a square with a dot inside, and there's nothing here. So it's confirmed that the rule for a square and a dot inside is to erase that in the third picture. So we confirm this second rule. Now applying this rule in the third row, again, let's trace the first picture here and overlap it with the second picture in the same row. So we have here 2 overlapping dots, so we know that would result to a square. But let's put first the stem, and these 2 overlapping dots resulted to a square. There's no overlap in this upper right-hand corner, so we just copy that square. There's no overlap here, so we just copy the dot. Now we have here 2 overlapping squares, and so far we did not see that in our first 2 rules. But let's look at the pattern here, from top going to the bottom. We have here a square, and you have a square again in the same position. So if I overlap these 2 pictures, we have overlapping squares, which is what we observe here. But notice that this square overlapped with the square, the result is this dot. Also, notice that you have here a square and another square in the same position, and we already know that that is a dot. So that is a consistent rule saying that if we now have these 2 overlapping squares, the figure here should be also a dot. And therefore, we now have this result, and that is letter E. So the answer is letter E.